All right, guys, Kyle Hartfield, I Talk TMS back with you. Special guest today, Dr. Manuel Astruc out of Saratoga, New York?
Saratoga Springs, New York, correct.
Saratoga Springs. Thank you. Thank you for that correction. Board certified psychiatrist specializing in TMS for, I believe, 20 years, something like that?
So I've been in private practice for over 20 years. We've had TMS in my practice since 2021.
Got you. Okay. Let me ask you, in that time, what have you found? What excites you about TMS, first of all?
It's just such an effective modality. One of the first people that I treated was someone who had been in treatment with me for years and had failed to respond to multiple medications, multiple combinations of medications. And, people come to me because they've failed to respond to the first thing that their, primary care doc has put them on or somebody else. And we're good at getting responses, but we end up layering atypical antipsychotics and, so on and so forth. We give people a high side effect burden. But this particular patient, after years of not responding to everything in spite of side effects, and she was a trooper, did everything that I asked of her. And she knew all the other things that she needed to be doing for herself, working out and eating right and everything else.
Okay.
But she had a high-powered job and she had a complex situation at home. And she just couldn't do the additional things. After she worked, came home, she was just spent. And the PHQ-9, the scale that helps us to determine the level of severity, was off the charts. And had been for years. She was incredibly stoic. And she was one of my first TMS patients. And her PHQ-9 went from over 20, which is a very severe depression, to 0.
How long?
It was the standard protocol. So 36 sessions. And by, session 20, 25, somewhere in there, she'd started to show a pretty robust response. And, I was stunned. I brought in TMS to help this kind of patient, and that was just an amazing response.
That's exactly what we're looking for with this, right?
That's right. And not everybody gets that great a response, but we found, especially for these patients who are, treatment resistant, that we're getting 70, 80% response rates where medications and multiple med trials, multiple layering of medications that we're able to get super amazing results for them.
So in practicing medicine over 20 years, have you found anything else that would produce that kind of response?
No. For this patient population, it is amazing. And my frustrations, is that people still don't know about it. And the insurance companies are, limiting the availability that they'll pay for people who failed a lot of medications and have very severe depressions. And there's an underserved population of folks who either don't want to try medications. The side effects of meds, you get tired, you lose your libido, you gain weight. People don't want to put up with that necessarily. But then the insurance companies don't want to pay for that, and it's been pricey, right? We've tried to bring down the price in our own clinic to make it more affordable, but it's still something that people hesitate to pull the trigger on, even though they can get such a remarkable result over a period of time. With the accelerated protocols, 6 days, we can get a response, and it's sustained.
You spoke about the accelerated protocols.
So Stanford came out with an accelerated protocol that they use with their very difficult to treat patients. The typical protocol, what we call the typical protocol, is 36 sessions over 36 days. So 5 days a week, almost 6 weeks of treatment. The accelerated protocol that we're using here is 6 days, Over those 6 days, people are getting 5 hours of treatment each of those days. There's some additional treatments that are delivered over the next 4 weeks, but the heavy lifting is done with those 6 days, 5 treatments each day. You get 10 minutes of stimulation, 50-minute rest, 10 minutes of stimulation, 50-minute rest. So 5 hours. And the benefits of that are comparable to what we get with a standard protocol over 36 days.
6 days, is that done in a row?
It can be done in a row. So we'll typically do, Monday through Friday and then another Monday. Gotcha. You can break it up and do, 3 days, 1 week, 3 days, another week, or some combination thereof to get the 6 treatments in 2 weeks period of time, depending on people's schedule.
Fast as possible.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you seeing the same results as you would doing 36 over 36?
We are. Brainsway, the manufacturer of our device, the studies that they've done is, in this difficult to treat population, 80% of people are showing a robust response.
Okay. You said the prior or the post the accelerated treatment, there's 4 weeks left in the treatments. What does that time look like? What does the treatment plan for somebody look like during that?
So Brainsway, our manufacturer, what they recommend are the 6 sessions. Over the next 4 weeks, you come in for 2 sessions each week. So you'll come in for a day, get a session, 50-minute rest, another session, and that's repeated, over 4 weeks after the initial 6 days.
Okay. So 6 sessions, right? 6 days. And then the 4 weeks, is that 1 session a week or 1 day a week?
So 2 sessions.
2 sessions.
Over 1 day, over 4 weeks. If that makes sense.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a remaining 8 sessions.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. This is something that fascinated about me and what I loved what you're doing. And I kind of do want to get into is the population that you're treating, right? Entrepreneur, business owner, CEO. And I was wondering if you can kind of speak to why that you love treating that population.
I absolutely love working with entrepreneurs, executives. I think that, entrepreneurs are the backbone of the economy in the United States. And they are under inordinate amounts of pressure. And when I talk to entrepreneurs about burnout, and burnout is, if you will, it's like a mini depression. It's characterized by physical and mental exhaustion. There's a sense of bitterness, loss of touch really with work, and the sense that you're no longer being as effective as you are at work. And when you talk to entrepreneurs, when I talk to them and bring up burnout, they all laugh like it's a badge of honor, like we're all burnt out. But when you're functioning at less than your peak, and you're responsible for signing paychecks for your employees, delivering value to your customers, and you're not firing on all cylinders, you're not doing yourself, your family, your business any favors. And there have been a handful of entrepreneurs that had sought me out for burnout. Their levels of depression may not register, but we see this incredible functional impact. There was a handful of people I can talk about. One entrepreneur who had been very successful, but he was incredibly emotionally reactive. He was blowing up, family, friends, employees. He was making decisions very impulsively, kind of shooting from the hip. He went through a course of TMS, and what he said was that his bandwidth just increased dramatically. He went from having a problem show up and then just kind of reacting to it with either anger or the first impulse that he had. He said he was able to see 3 or 4 or 5 ways to handle any particular situation that before was closed off to him. And he could more intentionally make a choice that was aligned with, his values, his culture, the outcomes that they were wanting to have for work, communicating with his family, and made a huge difference in this reactivity and decision making. It got to the point that he said that in arguments that would escalate with his wife in the past, he would just stay calm. And his wife would get mad. She's like, you don't care anymore about what's going on with us. And he's like, no, I'm just waiting for the punchline to see where we can make a difference in how things are going.
Yeah. Yeah. You just spoke to my personal life, right? I've lived that whole scenario out. So everything you were saying, I resonated perfectly with. Yeah. And I do understand, as an entrepreneur myself, man, it gets tough. And in your best, without TMS, you just have to buckle down and get through, and you do your best to do that. And,
burnout is not normal. I think that's one of the big messages that I want to get out into the world of entrepreneurship. It is not a normal state of functioning. I had another entrepreneur who came to me. He had no depressive symptoms to speak of, but he was stagnant. There were directions he knew that he could take his company in, but it was just overwhelming to consider putting himself back into the saddle of making decisions and growing something, and all the headaches and work that were required for that. And he had a course of accelerated TMS, and what he found, and he was surprised by this. He literally did TMS to check off a box that I've tried everything.
Okay.
What he found was that the idea of taking this company in new directions was much easier. He became excited for that. He said before TMS, he would come home from work to his family, and all he could think of is, when do I get to go to bed? But after TMS, he was engaging with his kids, his wife. He was much more present. Even very simple things. He was a runner. He said he would go running after TMS, and the clouds were beautiful. The trees were amazing. The feeling of the breeze. All of a sudden, he was enjoying things in ways that he had forgotten were, available to him.
Do you find far too often TMS sounds too good to be true? And how do you deal with that objection?
Yeah, so too good to be true. It's because people don't know about it. They're scared about it. They hear that we're stimulating the frontal cortex of their brain with electricity, and that's incredibly scary. The benefits that we talk about sound magical. And really, it's sharing stories like I'm sharing with you. Other people have had these issues, these problems. They've sought a solution, and they've gotten benefits that have translated into their work life, their personal life, their relationships. And it's just distressing how overworking, for all the years that they've done to like take something and grow it, has left them depleted and not being able to do what they love to do.
How do you express that to somebody, right? Because and for me personally, okay, when I found out about TMS and I was like, this all sounds wonderful, but is it going to work? In no way could I wrap my head around that. Are you throwing somebody in a chair and saying, giving it a shot? What's your approach there?
I think that the approach is really, starting off with a conversation that burnout is not normal.
Yeah.
what you've gotten used to. It's like you're turning the temperature up slowly. You accommodate, and you forget that, once upon a time, the energy, the passion that you had for what you're doing, serving your team, serving your customers, having the energy to also engage with your family, like you lose that. And it's the reminder, this is not a normal state that you're operating from, and you're not doing your company any services, your family, and ultimately yourself, by not being able to get back to your full peak functioning.
You said earlier that that one gentleman was able to see things in 3 or 4 different perspectives, right? And was able to stand back and choose what's going to be best for him. Is there something happening in the brain that's causing that? The TMS is affecting the brain to make it so that's going on?
No, so absolutely. And, the science, the deep science of what's going on in there, I think we're still trying to figure that out at a more physiological level. But that stimulation to the frontal cortex is connecting. There are connections to deeper emotional centers. The frontal cortex is responsible for judgment, executive decision-making. And when you're stressed out over time, your frontal cortex is not working the way that it used to. We know from studies of stress that the frontal cortex stops working the way that it's supposed to.
Let me ask you this one. What's going on with the dip? Why does the dip happen? Is there something that people can do to prevent the dip?
So just to be clear, you're talking about the dip in terms of depression or burnout?
I'm talking about depression.
Yeah. So I wish that there was a way that we knew to prevent depression. And we know that there's healthy habits that can mitigate depression, but depression's an illness. And when depression shows up early on, maybe we can mitigate by exercise, diet, socializing, all the healthy habits that we know about. But once depression has reached a certain point, people have a hard time activating themselves to the point that they can use that. So early on, that may be something that's possible. And for some people who have kind of this genetic predisposition towards depression and are getting depressed, there may not be a lot that can be done other than some sort of treatment.
That actually brought up a thought. Because you guys are doing the accelerated version and it's happening in 6 days, are you dealing with a dip? Right? Because when you look at standard TMS, you're doing 36 along the ray, one session a day. Typically 2 to 4 weeks, people are experiencing the dip, right? But because you're doing it in 6 days, are you even experiencing that? Are your clients experiencing the dip?
So by a dip, again, just to be clear, you're talking about a dip during the course of TMS?
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel so good. I draw a squiggly line going up, right? And I say, you're going to feel great. You're going to feel great here. You're going to come here. You're going to say, Kyle, it's not working.
Right.
But if you got up here, you're going to go up here. That's kind of the dip. And that's how I show people the dip of what they can expect. Right. But my thought right now is if you're doing it in 6 days, are you even going to experience that or notice it? Yeah,
so people can get that variability in mood over the 6 days. So, first day, second day, you may be feeling better. Third day, fourth day, you might be more tired. And with the standard protocol, we get that as well. How we help patients through that is really the TMS technicians that we have here, they're all very, very experienced. They've seen hundreds of patients go through this. And, the TMS technicians are invaluable in supporting. They're the ones that are seeing the patient every single day. And besides providing the treatment, they're like the cheerleaders. Hang in there. We see this. It's going to be okay. Keep coming back. I've talked to other TMS providers out there, and there's a drop off during a 36-session standard protocol where people just kind of give up. It's not working. It's not, we are incredibly fortunate with the team that I have here that most people will complete treatment.
Yeah. I love that you use the word cheerleader. And that's when I went through my TMS stent, my first TMS stent. That was exactly how I expressed when I was talking to the doc. I said, man, your cheerleaders here are amazing. And they really help you come back and support you through this. And I think a TMS tech is invaluable, right? Because just like you said, they're the ones in there. They're the ones seeing you, interacting with you every day. And they become part of your life.
Yeah.
When I'm driving down to get to my session, I can't wait to see Bethany or whatever the person's name is, right? And it's so important that you have a great tech that's helping you through this process. Do your technicians, have they done TMS themselves?
None of ours have done TMS themselves.
Okay.
But I was just thinking, our techs get flowers from patients, right?
Uh-huh. That's right. Gifts. Yeah. It just shows, the level of care is so important. People are tender coming into TMS, going through TMS. And again, that technician is so important.
Totally. They also have experience. They help people through the initial stages of TMS where the stimulations, we start at low levels that are tolerable and we want to ramp it up. And they're very, very good at kind of nurturing people through the phases of increasing the energy that we're using over the course of the sessions.
So what I wanted to talk to you about is I see online that there's a coaching aspect that you're offering.
I've been interested in burnout for years. I'm a psychiatrist. I'm the person who's supposed to be helping everybody else. But I hit a very, very severe burnout in my own life back in 2008. It was September 2008 that I hit a significant bottom, and I had seen it coming, right? I was working a lot of hours, and I knew that I was getting depleted and exhausted and tired, and I was just absolutely miserable. And in September of 2008, I was at a bottom. I was in a dark room. I was staring at this picture of my twin sister, Magdalena. And in this picture, she's smiling. She's literally glowing. And what you can't tell in that picture is that she was going through chemotherapy for brain cancer. And she had actually passed away the month before, August of 2008. And looking at that picture, it was just so striking to me. I was absolutely miserable. I was healthy. I had a thriving practice. And here she had lived through her last years with a smile on her face, with a very grim prognosis. And I made a decision to turn my life around and really started making changes a little bit at a time to claw my way back. And the journey that I took and kind of what I learned piecing things together backwards after I had felt better, I turned into a book, Happiness Rules, Beat Burnout, Embrace Happiness, Become a Better Entrepreneur. And what I've learned, I started using to coach other entrepreneurs. So I've had a coaching practice separate from my psychiatric practice for years. And when TMS came along, it was just a game changer in my thinking about what I had to offer entrepreneurs. Before I was good at helping entrepreneurs get through burnout, but I couldn't help everybody. But with TMS, it just kind of made the benefits and the improvements that people needed, entrepreneurs needed, almost inevitable. And so I shifted from, just kind of coaching, the aspects of what you need in your life to flourish. And I front loaded that with TMS. So the program that we've developed now is called NeuroPeak Protocol. We have an accelerated TMS for entrepreneurs at the front end. First there's an evaluation, of course. There's TMS. And then after that, we have 12 weeks of coaching, 6 sessions over those 12 weeks that are really honing in on the aspects of their lives that are required for humans to flourish. And most of that material, I pull from my own personal experience, the book that I wrote. And It's got a massive tie, and I didn't really know this till after I'd written the book. But, positive psychology and the science of flourishing is something that psychology has been working on. In med school, all we talk about is pathology, how someone's sick and how we get them better.
Yes.
But the idea of how to flourish is not something that they teach in med school and by residency in psychiatry. So it's really exciting to be able to offer both of these things to entrepreneurs.
That's amazing. And I'm sure you see, so you have a client who does TMS with you, your protocols, right? And then you have somebody who does TMS and the coaching. Are you seeing a difference in results between these two patients, these two examples?
Absolutely. I think that, TMS can get you out of the funk, whatever flavor of funk someone has. But then really having some concrete ideas of what it means to flourish and what are the pillars that you need in your life to flourish. That can get neglected and people can feel better. But I think what's much more sustainable is helping people understand and implement the aspects of life that really bring them joy.
And they're going to sustain the benefits of TMS longer with the new mindset, the new healthy habits and things like that.
No, that's exactly right. And I think, we don't really have this. TMS is still new, right?
Yes.
But that's exactly the hypothesis that we're working under, that if we get people back to, performing at their peak, and now we give them the tools, the healthy habits and mindsets, meaning and purpose and, so on and so forth, that they're going to be much better off.
I love that. And they can find all of this through you, correct? Do you do that course online by any chance?
The coaching is done one-on-one with me at this point, but there's a agenda, there's a structure, curriculum to the coaching so that they can be reproduced. I don't have an online course. However, the book is available everywhere, and it gives you my insights into what I learned and what also correlates very well with, the science of happiness, the science of flourishing.
I think that's such an important part. I'm not going to say that people miss, but I know people have missed, is the rest of this, right? TMS can pull you out of that fog or pull you out of that gutter. But what are you going to do once you're out?
Exactly. And we've known for years, if we go back to the medications, we've known for years that the best outcomes for our patients is when they're doing not just medications, which can help their depression, but the combination of medications and therapy.
And therapy. So that brings me to my next question. Are there other modalities that you're mixing with TMS besides coaching?
In terms of the private practice, we also do Spravato.
Okay.
Incredibly intrigued these days, and I'm talking about this more and more with patients. But the ketogenic diet for depression, for anxiety, for other conditions, brain health, I think, is critical. And for years, what I've preached is, eat right, exercise, socialize, sleep. You've got a foundational series of steps that you need to take in your life. Mm-hmm. But refining into this eating right, even more. And the reasons to do this is, for brain health, like not just for today, but for when I'm, 70, 80, 90, right?
Yes.
We want our brain to continue to work, and dementia is clearly, a significant societal problem. Like most people in their lives are going to have, whether it's yourself or a loved one that is going to have this struggle. And the evidence is, very, very high that if you're honing in on sleeping enough, moving more, and now the ketogenic diet as measures that we can take to prevent, to preserve brain health, is something that I'm really leaning into and incredibly curious to see what the benefits are. One of the challenges, and I don't know if you've seen this in your own life, but when patients come here, they want to be fixed. And the culture is that if you take this supplement, this SSRI, this medication, that's all you need to do. Right?
Yes.
There's the quick.
And not only that, it's going to happen like this.
That's right. And, supplements are a multi-billion-dollar industry. Mm-hmm. When we start to introduce the talk about, look, I want you to exercise, they're like, yeah, I know I should, but I probably, I'm not going to. Right? Mm-hmm. And when you talk about a ketogenic diet, which is, low carb, so you're going to miss out on breads and pastas and cake. So many people, especially when they're coming looking for that pill, have a hard time implementing these changes into their lives. So we're looking for folks who have the motivation and have the ability to kind of project into the future. Like, how do I want to be not just feeling today, but 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road?
Have you found that TMS has helped people sustain these benefits or this lifestyle? Right? Because for me, there was so many things I could think, and I knew I should do this. But then even like, I'm not going to sustain it, so why get started, right?
Right.
Post TMS, I can think it, and now, if I thought it, I can do it. And not only that, I'm going to sustain it. And now today, like, I find life is just different. After TMS, my exercise, my diet, community health, right? Or spirituality. These are all sustainable things.
Yeah.
Have you found after TMS, people are able to sustain these habits better?
That's a great question. My sense is that there's going to be a certain number of people who get TMS and are looking to make lifestyle changes that they're now more capable of making because they've got more energy and motivation. And there's going to be some people who don't. As a private practice, most of the patients that we're treating with TMS right now are outside referrals. So we're serving in the as a consultant, and we don't want to steal patients from other practitioners. So they come in, have TMS, and then we return them back to their,
and then they go back.
therapist.
Yes.
So it's hard to have that kind of follow-up with those folks.
I understand.
I'm excited with NeuroPeak protocol that we'll be able to have more follow-up.
Yeah.
And, our ability to kind of track things with people who we've engaged with TMS, and then the coaching, and then some, aftercare, kind of try to get some more data on this. What are the changes that people during the coaching sessions are kind of committing to? And what's their follow through on those things?
That makes sense. That makes sense to me. At firsthand, I'll tell you from my experience, life is so much better after TMS. Yeah. And I think once you guys get in and you start tracking those things to the best of your ability, you'll see life is sustainable, right? Yep. We've got New Year's coming right around the corner. And one thing I've been telling people is I hope you're not waiting.
That's right.
To start those New Year's resolutions.
That's right.
Let's do it now. Because that was going to be my follow-up question is, do you find better results when they're starting during TMS or waiting until after to get started?
So better results with healthy habits?
Like if you're going to start TMS today, should you start healthy habits today? Or should you wait until after TMS to start those healthy habits?
So what I talk to people about, and part of the evaluation process that we have, is to get one or two small goals that they can start making right away. So whether that's, moving more, whether that's a dietary change, but go for the low-hanging fruit after the evaluation, before TMS gets started, and just go for that. Don't wait. I was just having a conversation with a patient about TMS and actually the NeuroPeak protocol, and they're on the fence. I've got this thing going on. I think I'm selling my business. Maybe I should wait to come in for your NeuroPeak protocol after I've finished. And what I said was, the best time to plant a tree was 40 years ago, and the second best time is today.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That's awesome, right? 40 years ago, right?
Right.
And if you're going to wait another 40 years, what's going to happen? Come on.
Right.
Let's do it. Let's do it now.
What's the point of waiting another 2 weeks, 6 weeks, 4 months to feel better? Like, that doesn't make any sense, does it?
Imagine how you're going to feel in those 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks.
Right.
Let's start today.
And
let's get you there.
Right.
And imagine what's going to happen in 6 weeks. You mentioned a minute ago, the guy thinking about selling his business. Well, what happens if you didn't really want to sell that business and your brain has 10 ideas while going through TMS that makes your business flourish?
Or makes you more motivated, right, to run the business instead of what a headache running a business is. Yeah,
waking up like, oh, I didn't sleep. I don't want to do this again. I don't want to live this life. Well, let's start with a good night's sleep.
Yeah,
let's wake up rested, and let's see how that day turns around, how that business turns around, how the interactions with your family, your wife, your kids turn around. And what a new life. And it's all possible. And the only way I found any of this was through TMS, this journey through TMS. Hence why I talk TMS. And it's just a better life. And that's, you said earlier, so many people don't know about this. And to me, that's the biggest crime. Is this technology should be firsthand knowledge.
Yeah, it's so curious, right? It's been around for, over 10 years. It's been FDA approved. Insurance companies, while, there's still a bit of a barrier to getting treatment, they've gotten significantly better. From an entrepreneurial point of view, I think that the TMS manufacturers came out and sold TMS as a add-on service to psychiatry over years. But psychiatrists know how to do psychiatry. They don't know how to market. That's not something that they're trained in. Mm-hmm. And if you start a TMS practice, and your expectation is that you're just going to be able to have people knocking on your door for that, there's an effort that's involved in getting patients to know that it's available and that you're here offering it. When I started the private practice years ago, all you had to do was hang up a shingle and people are looking for psychiatrists, right? You didn't have to do any work. But many psychiatrists have found that they invest in the technology, but then the business aspect lets them down. They don't know how to fill the chair. We've probably spent upwards of $300,000 in marketing and trying to crack the code of how to get the word out there, and it's still hard. We're definitely not getting as many people as can benefit from it here, and we made a commitment that we wanted TMS to be as available to people regardless of insurance, regardless of whether they had tried meds or therapy or all those things. So here it's still a high price point, but it's much more manageable. Back in the day, TMS was $20,000 for a round of TMS.
Jeez.
Yeah, and we've priced it at a price point of $4,900.
Thank you for saying that. Okay, so that's kind of what I did want to ask you.
Yeah,
$4,900. You get the accelerated protocol the whole way through. What about the coaching aspect? Is that an additional cost?
Yeah, so that's just TMS. The NeuroPeak protocol is much higher price point.
Okay.
We're being very selective with the entrepreneurs who are motivated and wanting to do this, and coaching.
Do you want to say it?
Yeah, so it's $20K. For the entrepreneurs, but they're getting a lot of additional support besides just the coming in, having the technicians work with them, and having TMS.
Well, so from where I sit as an entrepreneur, from where I sit, and actually I'll share this real fast. The doctor who treated me, when we were all said and done, I told him flat out, I said, and I didn't have $1 million at the time by far. But I told him, I said, if you would have charged me $1 million, I would have wrote that check.
Yeah.
All day. Yeah. And so for you to say $20,000, right? People will think, hey man, that's a lot of money. But as an entrepreneur, one thing is the most true, is you can go make $20,000.
Right.
Invest in yourself and you'll be amazed at where this technology will take you all day long. I support that. And I will co-sign on what you're offering right there, because I do know the value of it. And I've been talking about it for a couple of years now because it changed my life, saved my life.
Yeah. For a successful entrepreneur who's running, a multi-million-dollar venture, if you're not performing at your peak, you're hemorrhaging $20,000, or
totally
not
true.
Making the $20,000, $100,000, every month that you're capable of making. The return on investment is massive.
That's right. TMS could be the solution to all that. Doctor, I appreciate you.
No,
I appreciate what you're doing out there. What's the name of your clinic?
The private practice is Manuel Astruc, MD and Associates. And then the entrepreneurial program for peak performance and burnout is NeuroPeak Protocol.
Okay. Where can they find all that?
Both of those are available online. And then the book, for people who just want to get to know me a little bit and kind of my philosophy, Happiness Rules, Beat Burnout, Embrace Happiness, and Become a Better Entrepreneur.
Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. I know you have the YouTube channel. We'll tag all of that below. Dr. Manny, I appreciate you once again, man. And I want you to keep fighting that good fight out there, helping all the people out who need us, okay?
No, and I appreciate, Kyle, what you're doing, getting the word out about, TMS. Like if we have one person who listens to this, right? That makes a decision to change their life and like it's time to go for it. Like that's such a massive win, right?
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Just one person.
Yeah.
That's all I want to see this. Well, obviously I want more and more people to see it, but I want one person to see it and be like, hey man, all right, today is my day. It's time for me. I do deserve a better life and it's time to get it.
That's right.
And obviously that's what this channel is all about. I talk TMS and that's all we're here to do is educate, give wonderful stories about the technology and help inspire people to take care of their mental health because that's what this is all about.
Kyle, thanks so much for the opportunity to be here. And, it's time to plant that tree today, right? Don't wait.
Boom. Beautiful. On that note, let's plant that tree. Let's all go out there and make it a great day.